All right, we can go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining. Working at the Department of Ed here alongside Andrew Cook, Computer Science State Supervisor. This is a quick session. This just talks about South Carolina's elementary space. So the first thing that we really want to do in this elementary school space is to start students learning more about the computational thinking side of things and more on the integration side of things. And then I'll show this quick video.
Part of computer science in early grades is to make sure that no one's getting left out. They're too young to realize like, oh, I'm a girl, I'm not supposed to be learning coding. Or, oh, I'm this ethnicity. Maybe there's other ethnicities that are better than that. I'm getting to them before any of those preconceptions are there, and we're all learning together. These kids are being empowered through our courses to basically learn the digital literacies of our time, and that is so important. They are going to be able to grow up being creators instead of just consumers of digital media, and I think that's really fundamental to their role in the 21st century economy.
All right, so as you can see in the video, it's very important that we start introducing computer science concepts to our students as early as possible. So a few things about computer science in the K-5. So it's about giving students the thinking skills that we would think that they will use to be more productive citizens, just opposed to being consumers. And then computer science integration concepts at early levels builds equity for students in underrepresented populations. And then also, which I'll talk about on another slide, it's the next slide. One of the hard, challenging things about the K-5 space right now is very hard to capture accurate data. So we are working with a few external partners as well as other state supervisors to figure out what will be the best means for capturing this K-5 data, because we know as in our state, we have schools and teachers that are integrating computer science into their lessons, but right now we don't have an accurate way to actually capture that data. So just the CS implementation, so there are standards, digital literacy standards that are required for every K-8 student here in South Carolina. And then school districts can determine the best way to implement these standards. From what I've seen, most students do this through an interdisciplinary approach. And then here are the list of state-sponsored professional development. These will be done by Jen and her team at Citadel. Jen, I don't know if you wanted to speak to any of these or.
Sure. So we just did the first one this past Saturday, September 18th. We did for K-8, we did computing across the curriculum, and for 9-12, we did CS careers. So we have workshops for the K-8 space and then workshops for the 9-12 space. So in October, we're doing hands-on CSCT and then CS and numeracy, or CS and literacy and CS and numeracy. They're all virtual PDs, so you don't have to go anywhere to attend them, but they're lots of fun, and we have some great teachers from across the state that are helping to facilitate those. So getting to see what actually happens in teachers' classrooms and what's worked, and lots of great help from teachers just like you.
Thank you for that, Jen. And then if there is a specific PD that you would like to see offered for this K5 space, just let us know and we'll be happy to try to assist and support that. So as I mentioned earlier, we will be having a family code night. Right now it's tentatively scheduled for the first Wednesday in November. So that is actually November 3rd. So more details on that will be coming out shortly. So this will be another way for students, teachers, and parents to learn more about computer science in the elementary space and also have a hands-on activity. And then there are some cool books in the space. There's a lot of different books that are starting to come out in the K5 space. I just put a link in here and I'll send this PowerPoint out as well. So some of the different cool books that students can look at or schools can purchase for students to learn more about the K5 elementary school space. And then some few things on the agency that me and Andrew are working on. So within a few weeks, we'll be hiring regional coaches. So we'll be able to help with curriculum, also helping with coaching and pedagogy, all of those different things. And then the week of October 4th, our Computer Science Bites, which is our quarterly newsletter, will be coming out. So you will learn all things CS and the different happenings around the state. And then the last one is there anything that we can do to help you?
So Dominick, can you elaborate on the challenges that we face with data collection and what the plans are to try to tackle that, to alleviate that problem for K through 5 space?
Yeah, so with the with a few other states, we presented yesterday during the ESIP call about the different zip codes. So zip codes is a way that it's another way to actually report if a school is teaching. The hard part about zip codes, you won't really know exactly what they're teaching, but you will at least know that that school is teaching computer science. So we presented that, talking to our office in the agency. Eventually, we will be moving over to zip codes for all of our courses, but the exact timeline on when that will happen, that's yet to be determined. So right now, the only way we really know what schools are integrating or teaching computer science is relying on teachers or principals or just admin to let us know. And then this is just the last slide that I have. So contact information, and then this QR code, if you are not on our computer science listserv, there's the QR code to get added to that. And then we have a few minutes if anyone has any additional questions before we hop back to the main room.
So Dominick, I have a question and then maybe a concern. So my question is, in elementary, is CS being taught as a class, or is it being largely integrated into other subject areas?
Yeah, largely integrated.
So I'm wondering, maybe I'm misunderstanding the intent for how to collect data on that, because if it's not a course, then you can't give it any kind of a code.
Yeah, so eventually that's the goal, to develop like those different courses, but right now we're not there. So the easiest way to get those standards, like the K-8 standards that we have for digital literacy, is through the integration.
Are elementary schools open to the idea of adding courses, or do they like the integration better?
So some are, but before we definitely make that switch, we'll definitely make sure we gather the collective feedback from the state.
Yeah, I'm just wondering because the school day has, you know, I was thinking as the presenters were talking earlier, you know, curriculum is free, but time in school is not.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
nowhere
it's
to put
already
all that
stretched
stuff.
in those. Yeah, that's why elementary schools tend to go more towards the integration piece.
Yeah, I'm
Because
just
with those different standards, it's kind of easier instead of having like a standalone component for CS.
You know, there's requirements to teach science at elementary school, but that typically gets relegated to 20 minutes every other Friday. So I'm just wondering how, you know, what's going to be the plan to do better than that. Yeah, and then the other thing that you might think about, because you were talking about statewide family code night, Wednesdays in a lot of communities is church night. So if you put it on a Wednesday, you may be excluding populations that you don't wish to exclude.
Gotcha. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'll follow up with him next week, because that's the date that they had assigned us. So we're not like married to that date, but I can definitely let them know that date probably won't work best for us as a state.
Yeah, we've typically tried to avoid doing anything on Wednesday late afternoons or evenings because of the conflict.
Gotcha. Thank you for that, Tom. All right, and I think we are good to go to hop back to the
So Dominick, did we do an introduction? That'd be good to know.
No, Andrew, I had totally
I may have missed it. I joined.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Oh no, I mean for the other cohorts. I mean I can start real quick. I'm Andrew Cook. I work at the Department of Education, Office of Career and Technical Education, responsible for the information technology pathway, a program in CTE. So who wants to go next?
I'll go next, just so we keep moving. Tom Peters, Executive Director of South Carolina's Coalition for Mathematics and Science.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Albert. I'm the director of the STEM Center at the Citadel.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Hecko. I am over in Lexington 1. I'm actually a computer science teacher on the related arts schedule. So I teach kindergarten through 5th grade computer science as the related arts, 50 minutes. I see the entire school in 6 days. And I know there was a question earlier on how it was integrated, and I was just looking at my information to make sure that I am speaking correctly. But when you look at the standards for K through 5th grade for computer science, grades 3, 4, and 5 actually have an algorithm and programming standards for it. So that's when we focus hardcore on computer sciences. I use code.org, Tinker. We do use Scratch. However, it is mostly code.org. For my little itty bitties, K through K 1st and 2nd grade, I do use code.org, but the push for it is, I do have a push for it because I also integrated to my STEM. So we do some engineering and science practices in there along with our computer science. But when you look at the standards for K1 and 2, there is a lot of big push for that data analysis, which is kind of covered in the math in the classroom with the teachers. We have Dreambox. So it is a little bit of both where it is integrated in the curriculum with the teachers, but it's also, I get to see them every week and work with them on those coding, that coding vocabulary, those coding practices, and what else? The algorithm of it all. So yes, that's who I am. Oh, and in our school we do have, I believe, 3 or 4 schools that are our coding immersion schools. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but we are not a coding immersion school. We just happen to fall, we just happen to have it's really up to the principal's discretion. There are some schools in the district that do not have a computer science related arts, nor do they integrate it into their curriculums. Nice to meet you all.
Cynthia, we actually work with Sandlapper. So Tim Swick at Sandlapper, they're a coding, or we're a coding immersion school before Code of the Future kind of went away.
Yes, we had Code of the Future as well. Yeah, actually one of the ladies, Jacqueline, her last name's not coming to me. She is like a coding coach for our immersion schools, our coding immersion schools. Yeah.
Yeah, she worked for Code of the Future for a little while. Then when they kind of left, she went out on her own. But yeah, I was part of the standards writing process. So I really, really enjoyed hearing you say those overlaps because those were very purposeful. So thank you very much for recognizing those. And if we can do anything to help you, please let us know.
Yes, absolutely. It really, when you look at the standards and it's more of more hands-on coding with the kids at the K-1-2, and now this year I have preschoolers, so that's fun. So it would be nice to find ways that we can get more robots for for those younger grades. There is a lot of grant writing that I'm working on, but
and we have quite a few you can borrow if you want.
Okay.
So we have the little mouse with the track. I think we have a couple of B-bots. I'd have to look. Ooh, and we have the M-Tinies from MakeBlock.
Okay.
Those are really cute.
Okay. Thanks.
Welcome. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack, but she was saying all the things that I love to hear.
No, this is no hijacking. It's perfectly fine. Share resources. Sharing is caring.
I'll introduce myself next because I know we're running out of time, but hi everyone, I'm Melanie. I work with Jen and Ashley here in the STEM Center at the Citadel, and also work as a project manager with a school partnering on computational thinking in the K-5 space. Nice to be here with everyone.
So what time did you guys say we needed to be back? Is it time or?
4:05, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought they said 5 till, but I may have been wrong and they said 5 after, but I'm in the other room on a different computer and there's nothing happening.
I think it's 5 after. Yeah.
And I should have thought of that.
Mm-hmm. So Ashley, you want to go next?
Hi, I apologize. I have an unhappy toddler with me right now. But hi, my name is Ashley Andrews. I am the assistant director of the STEM Center. So I work with Jen and Ashley. No, I'm Ashley, sorry, Melanie. And I've been fortunate enough to be a part of several projects where we've helped to integrate computational thinking into core content area classrooms at the middle and high school level, and am now working with them on a project where we're developing lessons in the elementary space that relate to CS and making. And so it's very nice to meet you all, but I'm going to mute myself again.
Okay.
All right, then again, thank you all for joining. Be on the lookout for that newsletter, and I'll make sure you all also get a copy of this presentation. And then next month, Jen and Citadel Jen and the STEM Center will have that PLO date, and they would love to have you all. So see you all at the main room.